Again, I I love this time whenever I push the record button. I think I push the record button. I continue to talk like I think that it's recording, and then I go, "Oh crap, it's not recording." Um, let's see if I can repeat what I just said. The when I talk, okay, it was this was it. The method and approach of what I think I am doing in information transferable to others that my empathetic self is saying is good, or I think is good because I think I'm being effective, and then all of a sudden I'm getting little dopamine hits as a result of what I think is being effective is a kind of love, and is reinforcing this a need to just get it out, what you think you've collected over the years that you believe is effective, that from the perspective of the person that's interpreting it and has the culture, has the language, and all the things you've collected to really assimilate what you're saying. It's going to take time. If you don't get it now, it's going to take time. Just keep it in the back of your mind. Our art teachers would tell us, these are all theories and ideas. Keep an open mind. And then the conservatives have this great saying that they think is so clever, but it just points out how weak their minds are, and that they don't have the capacity to actually manage ideas. If you have such an open mind, your brain will fall out of your head. The fear of there is that is actually a problem with advertising, is that you throw enough brands in front of people, when they have to make a choice and they don't recognize any brands but the brands that have been advertised to them, the recognition turns to affirmation. They go ahead and they buy the brand, even though they really don't know if it's just because of recognition. They think because they recognize it, and they may not be completely aware of where they saw the brand, it's just super effective. It turns into affirmation because I recognize this, I don't recognize that. Here's a challenge: buy the thing you don't recognize. You may be surprised. Those guys might actually think we're so good we don't need to advertise. If you don't recognize it, that's probably the case. Try it. Because the reason you recognize the brands is because you've been advertised to in some form or another, and the brand is in your head, and the recognition turns to affirmation. I spoke of this to some extent somewhere, that being abused by a woman, the sexual fetish of being abused, that any touch is affirmation of love because you've been neglected touch by a woman. Psychologists are going, oh, well, he just revealed something super deep there. Yeah. You see, there's a part of me that's going, hey, the psychologist. Then that's me in my mind, super imagination. The imagination, this little glee and dopamine that's hitting you, and whenever you think you're being clever, and then thinking that, then realizing later that they knew it all along. But what the people in the engineering community will say about this is, that it's kosher. The idea is this, that you can't really know unless you try, because otherwise you're going to fall into paralysis by analysis, overanalyzing something until you're just fearful that to even try to write it because you think you're going to do it wrong the first time. You're going to do it wrong the first time, but that's not going to kill you. What's going to kill you is if you think you're doing it right and you're not getting any errors, and there are errors in your program and they're not syntactical errors, They're not logic errors, they're semantic errors. They're failures of your ability to reason through what it is actually that you were supposed to be doing with this program. And sometime later, you're sitting with the client and you say, hey, look this. And you're working through it with this assumption that it's going to work right. And all of a sudden, you hit the bug and the client loses trust in you. You lose a client because you didn't follow through to really have a testing plan and not to have these things called black box, white box testing of your algorithms, random monkeys, all the methods that they try to debug potential errors that they could not foresee. Post-mortem analysis of it failing and not really wanting to rewrite it again, but knowing it rewriting it's better than rapid development, which is your boss saying this has got to get fixed and we can't do it over. No, you can do it over. That guy's a fucktard. It's the programmers fully know that it's not going to take that long. The boss is the fucktard. He is not willing to take it because he doesn't have the balls to really fathom that it could be easier than he thought was. But the reason why he can't make that leap of imagination is that he made this assumption that programmers could develop by Moore's law. Whenever the programmers get this from their teachers in college, that you can't get a baby out any faster by throwing more pregnant women at the baby. Programmers know this because they get it all the time. The programmers that go to college, not the fucktards that are on YouTube teaching what they think is coding. You're doing the best you can, guys, because you can't afford college. At least that's what you're saying. You can afford technical school. Tech schools will teach you that stuff. That's where you need to go, not universities. Universities are going to teach you computer science, and computer science is a higher level form of computer. Tech schools will teach you how to get the stuff done that's going to make you money quick and get you into the workforce. That I should have gone to a tech school before I ever went to university. I probably should have never gone to university. It was my family's idea that was what I needed. A tech school would have been enough. Because my big problem is I didn't have the work ethic pushing me through to actually find the work, to find that hole somewhere in some business out there that needs somebody with certification to fill the gap that in the organization and to develop the chemistry to be in their organization. About the best that I can ever be here as a consultant. And to me, my interpretation of being a consultant, since I already am getting the money that I need to survive, or I feel I need to survive, and I can't challenge it because it is an attribute of psychopathy and parasitic lifestyle. I'm using my socialist perception, others guys would say misconceptions, delusions. I understand all your points of view. My idea is that to me, what's more important is to get the idea out. It's not really to push it. Because to me, it's a curse to have it distract me all the time. There are programmers that I know out there that understand that. They understand the need for their survival, but they understand that if you push something out into copyleft, you know it's not going to get patented by some fucktard somewhere up the ladder. Because if you put it in public domain, that could happen. When you put it into copyleft, whoever's trying to patent it has to prove that there was no foreknowledge, that it wasn't already present in the culture. And there's a whole business community that would look at you like you just drop the ball in their favorite football game because it's just ruining everything. And the reason why is because they're product driven and you're service driven. I'm Socialism is the net that you fall back on whenever you fall on tough times. It's the thing that's to protect you from being homeless. It is not a curse. The reason why Matthew, being a tax collector, was hated by the Jews is because he was collecting money for the Roman soldiers that were going to oppress the Jews. And we think this defund the police thing is not biblical, that the super evil. That's the capitalist guys pushing that thing through. It's really something that the Jews experienced. That's the reason why they hated Matthew. It wasn't because he was collecting that taxes were bad. Moses pointed out to Pharaoh he needed 20% tax to keep his kingdom upright. God says you have to give me a tithe. You have to give out a tithe every Sunday. That's necessary for you as a Christian. You have to give out a tithe, a 10% of your salary, of everything you get, 10% of everything you get. And I'm not even doing this myself. That's how cruel I am. I give it in this respect. I am hopefully this is the respect by which I am giving my tithe. I try to give a tithe. If Bill Gates was getting, say, $100 million every year, 10 million of it would have to go to charity, to give a tithe. Is he doing that? Is he Christian? His wife is Catholic. At least she says she is. I'm not going to hold them to it. It's really something between them and God. They have to deal with that. She has to deal with that. I don't know what I thought his belief system was Ayn Randian crap. I called her Ayn Rand, Annie Randian. Did Atlas Shrug? All those rich people think it's all clever. Yeah, if Atlas Shrugged, if we leave the whole world, go off on an island, it'll be hell for all of you. We're in hell right now, and did Atlas Shrug? Fuck yes. I'll point it out to you. Very easy. We experienced it as COVID got unleashed on the world. All those capitalists going over to China thinking they're going to bring through capitalism and it was going to bring them democracy, and then to find out that the CCP was holding back about 19.5 trillion from their own people by only putting 0.5 trillion into the fiat currency, that, or not fiat currency, but putting through a very valueless currency among the people that couldn't really keep them out of poverty. It's just keeping them in super dependence to this cruel government that's got Uyghurs in plants that were seducing the money loving greedy fuckers in the business sector who were going over passing trade secrets so that they could get special treatment, get more product out faster, and overcome their competitors. This is the same process by which I believe Microsoft sold their software. It's like, hey, look, we can give you this thing. It'll make you so much better than your competitor. Just think how you'll be able to do them in. And then they obtain it. They buy all these licenses. The business guy isn't adept enough to know that Bill Gates is going to go to his competitors, say the same thing. And what did you really get yourself? Did you make more money? Did you grow better? What was the total outcome of that? My interpretation of this outcome is you became more productive, but now it's working against whatever kind of freedoms you would have in your family life, your capacity to actually go out and have the peace of mind and rest to think clearly, so that you could produce more product. People, something the Germans fully understand, the 6 weeks of vacation that over here we can't even fathom necessary. They get it. As ungodly as people think the Germans are, they get it. You need 6 weeks of rest to unwind the stress that is going to hamper your cognitive ability, your ability to be immune. And still, those stupid Germans thought China was pushing through these organs, these organ transplants that were coming from really wonderful Chinese citizen, but really was coming from prisoners of conscience. Was that what that was? People who were being imprisoned, who were really, really concerned about the government and that it was going the wrong way, and the government saying stability is paramount. We're not going to kill you. We're going to make better use of you. We're going to turn you into batteries like something out of the Matrix. The evil aliens turn us into batteries because they realize that's our best, the best thing that they can get out of us that we can't really prevent them from doing. These ideas come from somewhere, and it's great when you can bring them back into perspective that way.